What's going on, guys? What's going on? Welcome. Welcome to the Tuesday call, guys. So I just want to make sure my mic is working. I don't know if it is, but I'm going to assume it is. So if it's not, just kind of bear with me here, okay? Cool. Just give guys a couple seconds to fill the space, and then we'll go ahead into our talk today, which is going to be on the topic of setting goals in dating, which I've had huge success with. And so I'm hoping to share that success with you guys and help you guys start to get the success that you want in dating. So give him about another minute or so. Brian's on his way back from Costa Rica, so he's not going to be with us today, but he will be back next week. All right. Awesome. The numbers are going up. Cool. So I think it's a great time to kick this thing off, man. So let's chat about it, okay? Dating. Hang on a second. Camera is kind of, the angle of this camera is kind of hurting me a little bit. My OCD is kicking in. So setting goals in dating. Now, I never really understood how important it was to set goals in dating. When I first got into the fearless work, all about going out and getting better with women, which I guess is a goal, which is such a big and ambiguous goal. Right? But when I started this work was that I wanted to date girls, I wanted to have more sex, I wanted to have an abundance of women in my life. I wasn't very specific on which type of women I wanted or what type of sexual experiences I wanted. I say I spent of just wanting to be with women, and a very short period of time. But it really wasn't until I start to hone the focus in on what I wanted specifically, that all this got really interesting. It was kind of successes here and there. I'm really hopeful to date any girl for the most part, as long as she wasn't attractive, as long as she wasn't what I was used to, which is codependent women who are out of shape, who are not taking care of themselves, pretty much both of those. And it took me to get my fearless work, getting better with being able to approach it and have more. I realized that that's something that I wanted to have been overlooking for a very long time. And so that's something that I'll do as we go along. But I wanted to open up with the idea but talk about the importance of really setting it. It's one thing to be better with women. Then there's another thing, a very clear, specific goal that really lights you up and turns you on. And I know you guys hear a lot on the channel. We always talk about being turned on, being lit up, being excited. Your body. Next year, I hope that it's not affecting you guys if it is. So I got 2 bars of us signal here. So I just moved this to a new place, and this place has got crap signal. It's got maybe 2 bars at best in any given spot in this place. The space is nice. The place is great. The location is also just spotty signal. So anyways, on with the show. So having that specific target that really lights you up, and the reason that we really need these type of things is because if I tell a guy to go out every day and approach 2 women because he wants to get better with women, he's gonna have a lot of resistance to it, right? Because he's probably thinking of all the girls out there maybe he has to approach, and maybe none of those girls really light him up when he thinks about it. He just probably thinks about the rejections and how hard it's gonna be and how difficult it's gonna be when he gets out there. And if I told him, I said, okay, well, what type of girl do you specifically want? He might be, oh, okay, well, I want a nice girl, sweet girl, a girl who's got some, some morals, family values. And I might be like, okay, that's cool. That's fine and dandy, but you really need an even more specific goal. What does she look like? What's her body type? What's her height? What type of clothes does she wear? Does she wear heels, sneakers? Is she sporty? Is she very feminine? Right? Is she brash, tomboyish? Really knowing that stuff, really it gets your body, it gets your emotions involved with it. So emotions are involved with it. If I go out and approach 3 these specific girls every day, there's going to be a lot of tension in your body, but you have to go out and doing it because the fact that these specific women are you hold in your mind. It's like a model, maybe whatever this girl is, whoever this girl is, right? She's got a particular approach those girls specifically, and you're like, well, I'm having resistance. It's probably going to be resistance, but damn, that particular girl, for her, I would definitely go out for that. I'm telling you guys to just go out and approach 2 girls a day, and you guys don't have a particular girl in mind. That's probably going to feel like what's the point almost, right? Or you're going to feel that resistance, and you're going to be a lot more reluctant to actually want to go out and keep up with what you're doing. So when you guys are actually out meeting women, whether it's in a bar, store, shopping center, and you guys are in that because maybe you right? The thought of getting what you actually want, which is this type of girl or this specific type of dating lifestyle, is going to be the thing that carries you out of that heaviness. Because if you're stuck in that heavy state, you're more inclined to want to go home and not stay out and not practice. Now, again, if you have that particular goal, target, woman, whatever it is in mind, when you think about having that thing, it's going to give you that little boost of energy to actually stay out there a little bit longer than you normally would have, which is going to get you a lot closer to your goal because you might be out there spending more time under tension. So having a target, right? You really have to know what you want. And at the end of the day, like I said earlier, a lot of guys have this very vague and general idea of what they want in a woman, right? But if you ask the average guy, he's going to give you those vague answers. He's not going to be like, I want a woman who's got a great body. I want a girl who's got a nice butt, not too big, but just right. Something that's very fitting, right? Maybe nice breast. And these type of things. Maybe she has curly hair. Maybe she has straight hair. The more details you start to add to this particular person that you are envisioning in your head, the more you start to get emotionally involved with the idea of having this girl. Okay, that makes sense to you guys. Now, what I might do if a guy actually has a goal like that, if I go out with him, I might be like, okay, well, today we're going to go out specifically, and we're only going to approach girls that fit the description of the girl that you're looking for. It takes all day. We'll go out and we'll literally just hunt for that particular kind of girl, so that when he sees her, that's the one, right? And he's more inclined to go in there, even if attention for him, because it probably will be. Anything that you have an emotional attachment like that is probably going to have a lot more tension in it. But then again, the reward end of stepping into the tension and getting what you want is always going to be way greater than just going out and being very vague and getting, which is a girl who fits the role. It's a very specific feeling to get what you want. And especially with women, how that feels to have a girl that you actually want. It's like your turn every time you're with her. Every time you look over at her, like, how did I get this chick? What the hell did I do, right? What is she doing with me? And that's how it feels, because there's a constant turn on. You don't get tired of it, right? Versus a girl that you just kind of feel, maybe she's kind of cute, she's kind of sexy, but she's not your ideal girl. You get tired of it in a while. probably a very short period of time, right? So, and I know that from experience, right? The girl I'm dating right now definitely fit the majority thing I was looking for. And I look at it to this day and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. To me, I'm like, yo, this is awesome. I'm in that position. So what you want, be very clear. So if you guys are watching this right now, get very specific about this girl. You know, start going through the details. What's her skin tone? Is she light? Is she dark? Is she somewhere in the middle, right? Is she brown skin? Is she Latina? Is she Caucasian? Is she Asian? Is she Indian? Right? Think about all these things. You know, what's her body type like? What her eyes look like? What her lips look like? What her nose look like? Right? If you don't have all those details, that's okay. But get close enough so that your body starts to enjoy the idea of having this, of getting this girl, or actually even going after this girl. I'm big on hair. I mean, it was like my girl's got to have curly hair. I don't want it any other way, and I did not want to settle for that. And I didn't want to settle for anything less than that, and I got that. So whenever I thought about girls with that curly hair, it would just like that turn me on. And I'd be like, okay, if I saw her out and about, I have to go, even if it was scary as hell. I have to go because it lightened me up, and I knew that was going to get me closer to my goal by doing it. Okay, so get it down on paper and put into the chat. What do you guys actually want? What does this girl look like? Or let's say it's just a dating lifestyle. How many girls do you want to date? Right? How abundant do you want to be? Do you want to date a week? Do you want a different girl every? You know, do you want a girlfriend? Do you want two girlfriends? Do you want two girls who are okay with you being both of them? Right? Because again, you can literally have any and everything you want. You just have to really be clear about what you want. Because when I jump into this, talk about the universe, it's gonna. Oh, it doesn't sound really woohoo. Call it what you want, God, universe. When you have a very clear goal in mind, and you keep that vision in mind, and you don't waver from it, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, energy starts to conspire to help you get that goal. Once you start thinking about this particular girl or this particular lifestyle, you might notice that all of a sudden you weren't seeing this type of girl, and all of a sudden now you're seeing this type of girl everywhere you go. That's the kind of thing that happens when you keep your focus, or you're actually meeting women and you're finding out these girls that you're talking to are not looking for maybe anything serious, or they don't mind sharing, or whatever the case, right? These type of things happen. We were in Bucharest one time. I remember this was probably maybe 2 or 3 Bucharest trips ago when we did our week long out there. And we had a client, and he had set a goal for the workshop, and his goal was that he wanted to have a threesome. And he had never had a threesome, so he wanted one. And you know, Brian was like, what's your believability around being able to have that goal? And I forget where it was. It might have been like maybe 6'5", somewhere in the middle. It wasn't a high believability, but it also wasn't a very low one either. And so Brian was like, okay, well, that's your goal for this workshop. Your goal is to have a threesome. And we had a specific date, How many days into the workshop do you want to have it? You know, is it in the first week or is it in the second week? So he had a specific goal. He wanted to have a threesome. And so we go out to the bar every single night. And I think the first time we went out to a bar, Brian was telling him, he said, look, you're going to go out and you're going to tell the women that you meet that you're only looking for threesomes, right? So this guy goes out and, he goes out to a bar, and we're all out there, and he starts talking to some chicks. I don't know how many interactions he gets into, but he gets to a good amount of them. And so that moment comes where he's talking to a girl, and he's into her, and he tells this girl, I'm only looking for threesomes. And so he was like, all the tension that went up when he said it, right? You didn't know what to do. And he said, like, a couple seconds later, the girl was like, oh, you should meet my girlfriend. My girlfriend's here in the bar with me. And he was like mind blown, right? And so again, to us as coaches, we teach this stuff so we know this happens. But to see guys actually go there and experience and get closer to their goal, it's really fascinating to see how they respond to it, because a lot of people don't think they can have what they actually want. So he went out again, I think it's second or third night, and same thing. I'm only looking for girls to have a threesome. And he got a lot closer in that second one. I can't remember if he got the threesome or not. But the fact that he specifically honed in on a goal and stuck to it and started to see the little breadcrumbs of being like breadcrumbs saying things like, or, you know, as a girlfriend, or a girl who happens to be into girls, right? That stuff happens all the time. But it doesn't happen if you don't have a target in mind. So in my experience personally, I remember coming back from I started to have abundance with women, right? I was doing the fearless work. I started to get way better at approaching. I was having way more sex. I was dating more girls than I knew what to do with. I went to Brazil, and I had the most fun I'd ever had in my life, because in Brazil, the women there are very specific to what I was looking for. Kind of like curly hair, darkish, lightish skin, great butt, right? Just really nice and curvy in all the right areas. And I was so into that. And so when I came back to the States, I just wasn't interested in anything I saw. Like everything just seemed, right? I wasn't really seeing anything that I wanted. But I did think it was interesting, because when I came back, I started bumping into girls who were from Brazil by accident, or coincidence, right? To me, it's by accident, but I know it's coincidence. So what I started to do was I started to be like, what do I actually want? And I started to really, really think about what I actually want. And I was reminded of a particular girl, a type of girl that I used to like, that I got very nervous and scared around, and I stopped focusing on that type of girl. I totally forgot about that type of girl. And whenever I would see her when I was out approaching, I would just write that girl off, because to me it was like, yeah, I'm good at approaching, but I can't have that girl. That particular type of girl, for some reason, meant something to me. And I was just sweeping it under the rug. I didn't want to address it. I just didn't want to go for those girls, period. And so after I came back from Brazil and having those experiences with a lot of women like that, I started to be like, okay, what is it that you actually want? And so I got very clear. I said, okay, cool. I said, I want a mixed black girl, and I want her to have curly hair, and I want her to have obviously a great ass, and I want her to just be curvy in the right areas. And I remember just thinking, as I was setting that goal for myself, all those stories started to come up, right? And the stories like, well, you can't have that, right? Because those girls like a specific kind of guy, or you never been good with those kind of girls. You know, those girls have always been at a psychic distance. You've never been able to get one. And I just stuck with it. I was like, look, I'm going out to approach, but I'm only going to approach girls who are mixed and have curly hair. And ask anybody in the company, Jonathan, any of the coaches, they know, right? They know this is my type. And me and Jonathan, a guy who worked for us, right? Me and him would go out to the bungalow. And I remember after setting this goal, me and him are in the bungalow, and we're hanging out for a little bit, and this girl walks in. Curly hair, mixed, lightish skin. And she was like, I want to say like 6 foot tall. And I'm 5'9". And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting, because I saw her walk in. But I was walking around with Jonathan, hanging out for a little bit, and walking around the different rooms in the bungalow. It's like a house party, right? And there's got probably about 4 or 5 different rooms or something like that. And so we made our way into this pool room. They had a pool table. And she was sitting in that room with like 2 of her other friends. And as soon as we walk in that room, me and this girl lock eyes. And we locked eyes. And I got nervous. I was like, Like, there's no way, right? Not this one. And so for whatever odd reason, once we locked in, I just said something to her, boom. And she responded to it. She started laughing. And next thing you know, I'm sitting next to her. We're sitting there, we're chatting. We're hitting off really good. Eye contact, connection. I'm feeling my body. She's flirting. She's leaning in. And I'm just kind of like this nervous little boy. And I'm like, Jesus, how did this happen, right? And so her friends just happened to be leaving. And they're like, okay, we're getting out of here. And I thought she was going to leave too. But she was like, okay, I'll stay, but I'll catch you guys later. And imagine the tension when I'm like, because of my area. Now I'm myself. And we're hanging out and we're vibing. And I don't remember what happened, but we got closer. I'm touching her, I'm grabbing her hands. You know, we're getting a little closer. And so there's a pizza place across the street from the bungalow. So we go across the street to the bungalow. We go across the street to the pizza place. And we're hanging out there for a little bit. And I think Jonathan's with me. He's kind of hanging out too. I think even Jonathan's like, right? Because I know I was like that. And we're hanging out. We're hitting it off with a little joint. We leave the pizza joint. She's 6 foot. I carry her. I pick her up and I carry her across the street. We go back to her car, and we go and hang out at her house. And I'm like super nervous. I'm like saying, I'm not grounded at this point, right? Because again, once you get that specific thing that you're honed in on, there's that level of tension that's added to it, right? Maybe this level of tension wasn't there with other girls, and I could go out and approach other girls and take girls home, and I wouldn't be as nervous. But this specific type of girl, man, I was nervous. And so we hop in the car, we go to her house for a little bit. I meet a roommate, and then we come out, we go to the grocery store, we come back, we hang out. In this period of time, I somehow managed to fuck it up. Because I was so nervous and I wasn't grounding. Because again, at the time, that type of girl was not in my belief system. To me, I should not have been hanging out with that girl. To me, actually, I was lucky to be hanging out with that girl. I didn't have the abundance mentality that I have now, where it's like, I don't feel necessarily lucky. I feel like, cool, she's getting the great, she's lucky actually, and I'm also getting the great thing too. So it's actually reciprocated. That's how I feel nowadays about it. But that day, I totally managed to unravel it, screw it up. And at the end, it got really platonic. But it wasn't up until that point I started getting nervous. And so I ended that date. I ended that thing with her, and I was like, okay, cool. I remember driving home thinking to myself, man, that was actually part of your goal. And I was like, damn, it was part of my goal. And so I started thinking, I said, okay, cool, let's keep this thing up. Since that happened, I must be getting closer to it. And so weeks and weeks, I go out and I only specifically approach girls with curly hair. Actually, only mixed girls with curly hair. And so I see him, I chase him down, I was getting numbers, I was having a success here and there. And I started to be like, man, this is actually really fun now, because when I go out, I'm actually approaching girls that I'm turned on by. And so this is, again, why I emphasize having that specific type of girl and only specifically going after her. Which leads me to my girlfriend. I was doing an online dating product for the company, which I still haven't. I need to put it out. But I was swiping, and I just happened to match with this girl, right? And you think about those dating apps, you don't really have control over who you match with. So again, I always credit this to the universe, or just that straight focus on what I wanted, bring it into my life. And sure enough, I matched with her. Boom, mixed, curly hair, everything I was looking for. And we hit it off awesome. I think we hung out the next night or something like that. And we've been rolling together since. But again, having that goal is so vital, because once you actually get it, you feel like you've actually gotten what you wanted, and you feel fulfilled, and you feel satiated by it. So again, write down what you want, right? Again, if you don't have a specific girl in mind, maybe like a variety girl, or a variety of women, write down maybe the top 3 girls that you're into, the top 3 types that you're into, right? What they look like, what they smell like. The more details, the better. So right now we're doing a double workshop that's coming up in April. We're doing a 2-week workshop in April, and we just had our kickoff call yesterday. And the first thing we do on those kickoff calls is get the guys to write down their goals. And so, again, it's really funny when guys are like, I just want a nice girl, who's sweet, and she goes to church and she prays, and she comes from a good family, and it's like pulling teeth to get them to be very specific. And the minute you do, again, you guys are going to hit a little bit of tension. So if you guys have your goals written down right now, notice how much tension it actually feels to look at that particular type of girl, right? Maybe she is a model, and you're just like, I have no idea this girl. But here's the thing. In setting that goal for yourself, and then going specifically for that and that only, you will become who you need to become in order to achieve that goal, right? Because you can't have to go otherwise. So let the goal itself grow you into who you need to be in order to get that goal, right? Brian's always saying, it's always about who you're being in that moment. And when I was with that 6-foot girl, I was kind of being the guy who dates girls like that. I was kind of being that dude. But my belief system was still 50-50. The other guy who felt like I shouldn't be in this situation with this girl. There's a better guy for this girl. This girl's too much for me. This girl's way too much than I can handle. Which she wasn't, which she was totally into me and digging me, and I totally blew it. So you guys are going to go through this stuff that you guys out there, and you guys start to go straight for what you want, but let it happen. Let the tension grow you. Let the rejections grow you. Let all of whatever's going to happen as you go towards that goal, let it grow you. Okay. You're gonna notice that you find yourself changing when you get closer to the goal, right? You're gonna start to notice that the way you see yourself, your self-image actually changes as well, and then you guys start to feel a lot more worthy. If you guys are feeling like you're not worthy right now, then that completely does shift the more you start to go towards those girls, because then you'll know once you get in front of these type of girls, what are you really dealing with? What do you really need to work on, right? And when it's again, I use that example with that chick who was 6 foot. Immediately to me, it was like, well, you need to know how to ground better. You need to know how to ground yourself, stop being so reactive, and allow yourself to be attractive to women. Allow women to be attracted to you. And I wasn't doing that, right? So the more I went out and did it, the more I relaxed in it. The more I relaxed around those specific girls. And I got very comfortable with those specific girls liking me and enjoying me. And then what ended up just happening was it just started becoming part of my expectation that these chicks dig it, and that's just what it is. And it just starts to really normalize. And that became really, really, really fun. So, and it's also cool sometimes scroll your Instagram and see all the curly, light skinned girls that you've got Instagrams from over time. And because you're really creating your reality for yourself at that point, okay? So again, guys, get it clear. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit. What do you guys want? What do you guys put in the chat? Do you have questions about what we're talking about today? It's fairly short, but I feel like it's pretty sweet, and it gets the point across, and you don't really need to harp on it too much more. So what kind of questions do you guys have around the topic today, if any at all? I can't see anything popping up on the screen there. Okay, here it goes. I think I hit the right button. I see some questions here. Hang on a second. Ooh, hang on a second. This thing's a little difficult to mess with, but I think I'm gonna get it. Give me a second here. to see a question. I just can't scroll it for some reason. Hey, Landon, is there a way to pop the question on the actual screen so I can see it? Sweet. How do you overcome limiting beliefs that you are too old to approach and date younger women in their 20s and 30s? I'm 41. That's super young. Once a woman said that I can be her dad. Great. Be daddy. I felt not good about that. I get it. I get it, man. And that's cool. I'm glad that she told you that, man, because in truth, that's women poking at you, right? That's women poking at you. That's women giving you a shit test. That's what that is. And the more you have experience with that, you find little funny comebacks and ways to approach that don't really get under your skin. And they would just laugh it off because women might say that age is a deal breaker for them, but it really isn't. And it kind of comes back to this point that Brian always makes. It's not what you look like, how old you are, how much money you have. It's always and literally only who are you being in that moment. Are you being a guy who's affected by what she's saying, or are you a guy who understands that she's just poking at you? Don't take it personal and then come back at her with something, right? And make her laugh and giggle. You just open her up. Because no girls are really gonna. Actually, here's probably what happened. Let's just say she hypothetically has a story about age, and then you become that guy who breaks that barrier for her, and then maybe she's a little bit confused now because she's like, well, I said I don't date older guys, but there's something about this guy particularly. I like him. He's different. You're gonna be the exception, right? Every girl has a no until there's the exception, right? And there's always an exception. So the way to overcome that limiting belief is to realize that don't take those things at face value. Don't take those things at face value. You're 41 years old. There's probably, I can't tell you how many people, how many men in their 50s and 60s that are dating girls in their 20s. Right? I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's so many of them out there, and I bet you've seen them yourself. Right? So 40 is not, it's nothing. It's completely nothing. So let go of that belief and just take those things as kind of shit test, and just find creative ways to come back at them with something. Actually, I would say this because I put this out in a video recently, and it's also very, very, very true. Look at your insecurity about your age. Look at your insecurity about being 40. You feel like you're an old man, and I don't know. No young women want to date you because you're old and you're crusty and you're dusty, whatever your belief system is around that, and make peace with your limiting belief about yourself. Look at it until you're able to laugh at it. A great way to do that is learning to release, right? Brian's got videos on the channel about releasing. Go into our profile, go through the videos, go find the releasing or the revealing videos, because the revealing is actually the releasing. We just rebranded it as revealing, but it's the same thing. Go through and watch those videos so that you can start to release on the hangups that you have about your own age. Because again, we get guys who come through our workshops who are 50 years old, 60 years old, married, divorced, kids, and we take them out on an approach, and they're meeting these hot 20-year-olds, and it's because they don't have that story necessarily, or if they did, putting them in that tension helps them overcome their story. So do that, man, and go out and rock out and get you some 20 through 30-year-olds, man. There's an abundance out there, and you should be having fun, okay? Awesome, man. Hey, next question, man. Is there another question we can throw on the screen? How did you learn to move past the reactivity around girls, the girls you really wanted? Putting myself through the tension of it. Journaling was another part of it. There was a lot of things that I did in that particular time frame that got me less reactive. But the biggest thing was getting in front of those girls. There was no way around it. I needed to get myself in front of those girls. I needed to get my way around those girls. I needed to again, face those insecurities, become aware and the observer of what was coming up that was making me reactive. The more clarity I had on it, the less reactive I got during my interactions. And I started to notice that it slowly started to decrease over time. I started to get a lot more loose around those girls. I started to joke more, started to poke more. I didn't feel like, oh, hey, this is this girl I put on a pedestal. I'm so nervous. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Don't, excuse my French, don't mess it up. It started to become really loose and just be like, okay, cool, whatever. If this girl's not with it, then there'll be another girl. Right? And that's when my mentality shifted around it. So to answer your question, you get over the reactivity by putting yourself through the tension of showing up for that particular girl. So maybe for you, it's finding that girl to you that's a 10. Getting close enough to her to ask for time and directions. Slowly edge your way into talking to her, little by little, right? Put yourself where these girls are most frequently, right? So if, let's say this girl is a model, where in your city is, I don't know, maybe the top clothing brands, right? Shops where all the Gucci stores at, the Louis Vuitton stores, where all the posh stores at, right? If she's a little more tomboyish and stuff like that, then, where do those girls hang out at? Is she classy? She likes nightclubs, jazz. Put yourself in those environments so you have a better chance of running into those girls. And then again, the more you put yourself through that, you're going to go through that little bit of process of having to catch up to that person that you have to be in order to get that type of girl, which is it's the transitioning process. It's the transportation process of going in, being reactive, of going in, not passing the shit test, going in and just completely self-rejecting, sabotaging, and bombing it, right? And then you stop doing that over time. The more you get more clear on it. Again, always a good way to do that is to come down and work with us, because we are very, very, very good at making sure you guys don't let yourself off the hook. And we're notorious for holding you to a vision that you have for yourself. And I love going out with you guys specifically because let's say we go out to a bar and there's a guy in our group who's talking to a girl and he self-rejects. And we see him self-reject, and we see him self-sabotage. Turn him around, push him right back into the group, right? It's not done until it's done. And so that's the type of stuff that we do in our coaching. We coach very compassionately, but at the same time, we know that you guys are selling yourself short, like I was when I first came in. And so we're going to hold you guys accountable to making sure you guys get what you guys came for, so that you guys can literally change the course of your life from doing what you've been doing to going towards what you actually want to go towards. So I hope that answers your question, man. All right. Is there another question on the screen that we can throw up? Optimus Dad, what's going on, buddy? So not gonna lie, I can't see beautiful women wanting to date me. I'm a big old nerd. D&D, voice acting, okay, fantasy writing, you fucking name it. I got it. How can I change my mindset on women not wanting to date nerds? So the reality of that is there's guys in your position right now who are dating some of the most stunning girls to ever walk the planet. And there's guys who look like you're dating girls who are maybe say a little bit under that, right? Who are just everyday girls who are also very beautiful. And specifically, there's guys who look like you who are dating the girl that you specifically want, the exact type of girl that you want. So the story that you have about yourself is that you're a nerd, you're into fantasy writing, voice acting, all that stuff, and you don't think there's a girl out there who's digging that. And I guarantee you, there's a girl out there who's into the exact same things that you're into. Probably word for word, every single thing. Fantasy writing, voice acting, all that stuff. It looks just like the way you want her to look. You really got to change the way you're looking at yourself. And a great way to do that, man, is actually, I would try this writing exercise. There's a few ways to do it. But there's an exercise that I got, and it's called the self-image exercise. And what you're doing is writing on a sheet of paper or in a journal the ideal way that you want to see yourself show up in the world, or the ideal way you see yourself, right? So maybe right now you are you have this belief system that's like, I can't see girls like that want to date me. And so the first thing you write on that journal might be like, girls like this love me. Oh my God, they cannot keep their eyes off me. As soon as I walk into the room, these specific girls are always looking at me. It's actually pretty annoying because I'm just trying to be, right? Or you might write something like, you know, these girls are always talking to me. They love guys who look like me. And you write it down and then you read it as often as you can. So read it twice a day, maybe once when you wake up in the morning and once before you go to bed. Because truthfully, the way this exercise works is you're not trying to gas yourself. You're not trying to BS yourself into believing that this girl wants you. What you're trying to do is you're trying to give your subconscious the message that this is true. And you guys got to remember, the subconscious, I don't know if you guys have ever read Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret. The subconscious can't reject ideas. It can only accept them. The conscious mind can accept and reject ideas. The subconscious mind cannot. It will only accept what you put into there. So if you read this every day to yourself twice a day, maybe not the first day, but maybe the second day or the third day, your body's going to start to light up and you're going to start to really believe it. Not only are you going to believe it, you're going to start to find examples in the real world where guys who look just like you are dating the girls that you want to date. And like I talked about earlier, how the universe tends to magically do things. Don't be surprised if you walk out your house or you go somewhere one day and you see a guy who literally looks like you dating the kind of girl you want to date. It puts those things in your way to let you know that you can have what you want, right? And again, I don't want to make it too woohoo because it's actually very physical and it's actually very true. You got to change the way that you're seeing yourself. And again, when I was talking to that girl who was 6 foot, I didn't have that belief system around myself. Actually, what ended up happening, I didn't have that self-image exercise to my advantage at the time. It started to develop the more I got from those type of women. And looking at it now, had I been in that situation, there's no doubt that me and that girl would hit it off way, way more than we did. So start to let that in. Start to go out and find examples of guys who look like you or who are into the same stuff that you're into, dating the kind of girls that you're into, man, and let it into your subconscious. Your belief system will always try to tell you that, no, it can't be done. It's not true. You've never had that before. Why would a girl like that like you? It's going to fight you. It's going to fight you. You got to be persistent with looking at the goal until it starts to feel good in your body. And this is the last part of that. This is how it works. The more the goal lights you up, the more you feel good in your body around the goal, the more you feel good around this particular girl, or the idea of having this particular girl. The more you're going to go into action around this woman because it feels good to you when you think of having this girl. If you see her out and about, you might just walk up and just say hi, right? Because it feels that good to you. Let the emotion, the endorphins, the positive feelings about this vision that you have towards this girl get you to go out there and actually approach her. The more you put yourself in front of these type of girls, the more comfortable you get, the more you start getting more natural around these girls, the more you start saying the things that you actually mean and feel, which in turn attract women to turn them on. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, man. I was going to say, also, if you want to go into more detail, you guys can always email me and we can hop on calls and chat about what it is that you want and why you're not getting what you want. So take my email down. My email is anthony@thefearlessman.com. And if you guys want to talk further outside of this call about what it is you want and how to get it, let's hop on calls and let's chat. Let's set up something, okay? Because I know this stuff works. I know a lot of you guys don't because you guys haven't had those experiences yet. And the minute that you do, you start to be like, oh, what is this crazy? Why haven't I been going for this all along? Okay. And it literally took me a year of doing the fearless work, or actually a year and a half really, to start to admit that I wanted that type of girl. And had I known that earlier, I would have just gone for it way earlier. I wouldn't have waited a whole year and a half. So anyways, guys, I hope that helps you, man. Next question, if there is one. What role does embodiment play in dating and relating to women and people in general? Oh, embodiment is 100% everything. Think about embodiment and think about the polar opposite of embodiment, being completely disassociated from your body and being in your head, right? Not feeling your emotions, not feeling your heart, your stomach, your cock, your legs, your grounding. A lot of us forget that we have a body, and again, it's not our fault. Sometimes we're raised in environments, we're raised in households where we learn to shut down our emotions, or we learn to shut down feeling in our body because for whatever odd reason, it's not safe to be feeling in that environment. Could be a good home, could be a crazy, chaotic home, doesn't matter. There's always things that go on in our childhood or early adulthood that cause us to turn off feeling in the body. Embodiment is literally you feeling every particle of your body all at once, really. Now, the more embodied that you are and the more feeling that you have in your body, the better you do with women, and it's not a coincidence. And here's why. Your body is like a musical instrument. It's got notes, right? You're playing the piano or you're playing a guitar. It's got notes and it's got frequencies, and your toes have emotions in them. The soles of your feet have emotions in them. Your ankle has emotion in them. Your biceps, triceps, your chest, your legs, everything in your body has an emotion to it. And everything in your body is kind of running on a different frequency, more or less. I did the embodiment workshop with Brian, and once we started doing the work with the feet and getting the feet grounded and starting doing some work with the toes specifically, the toes were like, wow, my toes had grief in them, they had joy and happiness in them, they had apathy in them, they had anger in them for sure. Now, see, these are all individual parts of your body, right? All having emotions. Now, that's one part of it. Now, the other part of it is what happens when these individual parts of your body link up with the other parts of your body. Now, the emotions from your toes are sending signals to your pelvis or sending signals to your heart. So when you're walking down the street and you're actually literally feeling your toes on the ground, you start feeling moments of bliss and happiness. You start feeling moments of joy for no reason other than that your body feels joyful and it feels happy. So when you're talking to a girl, and let's say you're feeling your body, you're feeling your toes. Let's say literally you're standing in front of her and you're grounding on one leg. I don't know. You're feeling your leg, right? And then you start to kind of be conscious of your toes. You start playing with your toes in your shoes, and all of a sudden you get these little hits from your toes to your heart. Maybe it's hitting you in the stomach, maybe it's hitting you in the pelvis, right? Or it's hitting you in the cock, for lack of a better word, right? And all of a sudden you're like, damn, that feels really good. That feels really good. And you're feeling so good in your body that it's coming across to the girl that you're feeling good. And she's like, why is this guy kind of smiling? Like, what the hell? You become very interesting to that girl because one, you're not needy because you're not needing her to feel good. And two, because you're happy in your own without her. Your body feels so good that you're transmitting those happy emotions to her. And now she's smiling, she's giggling because you're feeling great. And because, again, the body is vibration. Everything is vibration. Cells are vibration. The atoms are vibration. That energy is transmitting to this girl. If you're feeling turned on let's say you're feeling turned on, I don't know, maybe you're feeling your toes and you're feeling your toes and it's affecting your pelvis. And then maybe you're feeling a little horny, you're feeling a little aroused, right? And so now you're kind of grinning at her a little bit. You got like this devilish grin on your face because you're turned on. You literally are. And you're flirting with her a little bit, right? And she's getting turned on now because you're flirting with her and she can feel how turned on you are for her. And she feels that. So she starts to surrender and she starts to get turned on because now you're turned on and you guys are both turned on. And then all of a sudden you guys are touching each other and now you guys can't keep your hands off each other. Next you go, you guys are hooking up or making out, whatever the case. This is how a lot of times I would go out to bars, I go out to bungalows, and I start making out with a girl in the first like maybe minute and a half of meeting her because I'm feeling it in my body and I'm feeling so good and I'm not even trying to hide it. And she's vibing off that, she's feeling that. And I just grab her and go in for the kiss. No resistance. right? So that's how embodiment plays a role in dating. If you're on a date with a girl you met, say online dating, or you got a number, you're on a date with a girl, you sit across from her, you're feeling your heart space, right? You're feeling your heart's wide open, you're feeling compassionate, you're feeling happy, you're feeling just lighter, good emotions. She's like, who is this dude? Why does he feel so good to me? Again, women go off emotions, not logic, right? Men are more logical than women. Women solely go off of, how does this guy make me feel? Does this guy make me feel creepy? Or does this guy actually make me feel good? And again, they can't deny what they're feeling. They want to be around guys that make them feel good. And embodiment is a direct reflection. It's directly associated with how good you feel in your body, even by yourself when you're not with her. There's many times where I'm sitting out here in the courtyard hanging out, and I'm just lounging in the chair, looking at the sky, and I'm just feeling my body, and I'm just like, man, life is amazing right now. No specific reason, but life just feels awesome right now in my body. So take that and do embodiment work if you haven't been doing it. It's the quickest way to get out of your head. And also, if you guys want to do some work with us and get that stuff worked out, come to the experience workshop if you haven't taken it. If you have, do the embodiment workshop. That's a powerhouse of a workshop to get your body lit up again and get your body turned on again and get all those numb spots out of it so you start actually living a life again, okay? So next question, if there is one. Oh, awesome, man. What's going on, Raymond? That's my dude. I have the experience where I go up to a very sexy woman at the club, and my approach is solid. I tell her she is sexy as hell, and she instantly wants to talk and touch me, and then I freak out. Yep. Yeah, man. I get it, and I've been there, man. You know, this is literally the 6 foot girl with the curly hair. I was touching her. I was literally carrying her. My arms were creep, getting physical. It was too much, right? It was too much, man. It was just like, oh, this is actually happening, and I didn't feel ready for it at a core level. So, in Brian and Dave, who Dave is Brian's co-owner of the company, Fearless, and they both say this, man. You know, your reality is catching up to where you want to be, and once you actually start to have these kind of experiences more and more, you'll start to catch up to it and start to really realize that you're actually worthy of having these reactions and that women should be responding to that because, again, you are value to women in the way that you show up, your honesty, your directness, your groundedness, your ability to lead. Women love that. Man, you guys don't understand how often I hear women say that they're looking for guys that do this stuff, right? My girlfriend, her friends, just miscellaneous girls I've run into when I tell them what we do. They're just like, every girl's looking for a guy like that. Every girl's looking for a guy like that. And when you're showing up like that, there's no surprise that you get multiple girls who are interested in you. There's also no surprise that you have multiple girls that are interested in you and they know that you're seeing other girls and they're okay with it because you become one of the very few guys out there who are like that. It's probably very rare for women to meet guys who are that solid. So congrats on that. And stop taking yourself out because you've actually done the work with this, man. You've come a long way, buddy. You've done the double, you've done the experience workshops. You've come a long way, man. So it's time for your next level, man, and to go into that space of complete acceptance of the abundance of women that are flowing to you, man, completely. All right. Next question, if there is one. Hey, what's going on, man? I know you. Okay, cool, man. So he was at our experience workshop. Cool dude. So I said I found it very difficult while having a conversation with the girl to feel my body at the same time. That's very common. Any advice on how to synchronize the two together? Yeah, man. So I've heard Brian say it like this, man, and it's true. And I'll also add this piece to it. There is a learning curve to it, right? There definitely is a learning curve. As you get used to waking up your body and feeling your body more, a lot of times you're probably going to draw a blank. A lot of times you're going to go to a space of being like, I can't feel my body and have a conversation at the same time. And I felt like that, I would say probably during the first workshop. The second time I came back, the second one, I was also feeling the same thing. there were little moments here and there I started to feel, and I started to be able to feel and feel the person I was talking to at the same time. But it took a bit of time. And so, to your question, I say this: spend more time feeling your body when you're by yourself, so that you become very familiar with what your body feels like. You become very familiar with your emotions, your patterns that you run, all those things that are very exclusive to your body. And Brian says, he calls it this. He says 80% of your attention should be on your body. 20% of your attention should be on the woman that you're talking to, right? It's very common for guys to get in front of women, and as soon as they get in front of a woman, boom, just like that, they vacate their body. They go right into their head, or they're out there having some other outer worldly experience, or they're not even feeling their body at all. They don't even know they have a body at that point. They're disassociated from it. So make it a priority to make your body 80% of your focus. And if in being in front of a woman, you start to notice that you're having trouble talking, say less. Say less. Don't feel pressured to speak more than you need to in order to maintain feeling in your body. I guarantee you, over time, you keep feeling your body, it'll keep feeding you things to say, and then you'll have a lot more to say as you go along. But at first, when you guys are starting this work, sometimes, yes, it's going to take a little bit of time to catch up to you. If they don't want you in body, man, you're going to feel so good in your body. You're going to feel so connected to your body that it's going to be feeding you stuff to say, and you're just going to be burning it out, blah, 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 blah. Anything that comes to you, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be hardly any going up to the mind, filtering it, and then bringing it back out. It's just going to be like this and like that. And that's what you want, ultimately, right? Because that's what gets you more honest. That's what gets you to say the thing that you actually need to say. That's what gets you to say the thing that you actually want to say. Stop beating around the bush. And this goes for all guys, not just you. The minute you start doing that, kind of like Raymond was saying in this last question or in this last thing, you start walking up and telling girls they're sexy. You start walking up and being very honest. Again, not from a creepy place, but from a place that actually feels good, right? And the place is very, 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 very congruent with how you feel. So focus on 80% body and 20% focus on the person. Try it with your guy friends. If women are too much for you right now, then go out with your guys, go out with your dudes, and practice the 80-20 thing, right? Be in your body 80% of the time, 20% of the focus on them. Don't say more than you need to in order to stay in your body. If you feel yourself vacate your body and you lose like awareness of it, like you're not feeling your legs, you're not feeling your ankles, your toes, your calves, your hamstrings, your fingers, for instance, draw it back, come back into the body, say less, say less. All right, I hope that answers your question, man. This is actually a really good question. I said a lot of guys deal with that. They get in front of women, and it's your body just totally turns on you and goes the other way. So, good question, man. Next question. Melody, okay. Is moving okay as long as I own it? I can be hella grounded in public, and women all over look at me. Yeah, moving is okay, man. Moving is really okay if you can be in time with what you're feeling as you're moving. Meaning that when you're moving, you are not leaving your body when you move. Like your steps, or like each step that you take, you're still in feeling. Like if you lean on one side and you ground on your right leg, you're moving to feel more. You're not moving just to be moving out of a reactive place. Because if you're moving out of a reactive place, then you're just being reactive. So move and feel it. Move slowly. When I'm talking to a girl and I'm in front of her and we're just chatting or whatever, and I'm feeling my legs and I'm probably rubbing my forearm like this, right? I'm kind of like this. I get my hand on my sleeve and feeling my forearm. I'm feeling the warmth of my hand go up my arm like this. I'm really just feeling everything, man. I want to feel all the pleasure, because I know the more that you're in pleasure in your body, you just feel good, and you make people feel good. The more good you feel. So yes, moving is okay, but make sure you're staying in feeling as you're doing it, and not just moving out of reactivity just to be moving. So Next question, if there is one. What time we got actually? Hang on a sec. Let me see here. Okay, cool. So we had out. Nice. Okay, this here. All right, Homer, what's going on, man? I'm too afraid of approaching because I don't like to look like a creep. How do I get around this? Yeah, so the creep thing is a very common thing, man, and so many guys have gone through this experience of feeling like a creep. It really comes down to owning the fact that you are attracted to women and that we are here to be attracted to each other because, again, the whole purpose has always been to procreate, right? Whether you choose to have children or not, doesn't matter. The fact is that it's okay to like women. It's okay to find women attractive. It's okay to let women know that you find them attractive. It's okay to vocalize that stuff. Here's what's creepy. Here's really what creepy is. Creepy is that I think I'm creepy and women are picking up on that. And then they think you're creepy because you feel like you're creepy inside. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like, I don't know what I'm doing here talking to this girl. Those type of things, right, make you start acting in a way that women perceive as creepy. So you might walk up to a girl and start talking to her, and then you go into your head, and then you're saying things that are just really out of context of what you guys are even talking about. Or you're stuttering over your words, and you're not being very clear about what you're saying. And maybe you're delivering a really nice compliment. Maybe you want to let a girl know that she's sexy, but truthfully, you don't it's not like you don't feel like she's sexy. You feel like she's sexy, but it's not coming out correctly because you feel like a creep. You feel wrong for saying that. You feel shame about being too sexual with her saying that. And so when it comes out in a very creepy way, and she wants to push you away because to her and her body, that is, it feels creepy, right? So it always comes back to, how do you feel about yourself? And you have the power to change how you feel about yourself by going into acceptance of the truth, which is that sex is totally fine. You've been attracted to women, it's totally fine. It's a good thing. It's a great thing. You should be out there approaching women, talking to them, letting them know how you feel about them, letting them know, giving them compliments. The more you start to own it, the less creepy it becomes. Actually, the more you start to own it, let's say you go on a date with a girl and you start talking about sex, I don't know, in the first 5 or 10 minutes of a date. Most guys will tell you, don't do that right away. Don't mention sex in 5 minutes of a date. I do it all the time, right? And the reason that it works for me is because that I'm more comfortable with the topic of sex. I don't make sex feel creepy. Because I don't think it should be creepy. Now, there was a time I used to make sex feel creepy. There was a time that I would try to bring sex up 10 minutes into the conversation and I would get blown off. And I've been to that a couple of times, probably more than I care to remember, because I wasn't fully owning the fact that these things are great, these things are good, sex is actually good, dating is good, approaching is great, all these things I should be doing. I had some kind of hang up or shame around them. So get the shame out of it, man, and start to really own that you're a sexual being, man, and you are here to be a sexual being, and it's totally fine, man. Nobody's going to shame you for it when you own it. I guarantee you, okay? So hope that helps, brother. And next question, if you got one. I'll do about, let's see, we can do 2 more questions, and then we'll go ahead and shut it down from there. Is there any more questions? All right, that might be our last question. All right, there we go. We got another one. So if we're just starting out, what should we focus on improving first? on the topic that we're talking about when it comes to goal creation, not goal creation, but having a focus on what type of girl you want, the key focus is getting on paper what it is that you're looking for, right? What does your ideal girl look like? If you let's say this, if you know that you're going to die and you only have a limited amount of time on this earth, and you got to choose your ideal situation, you got to choose your ideal experience, how would you do it? What girl would you pick? What is she like? Who is she? What is she into? What's her style? Get those details down on paper, because mine is always curly, mixed, easy, boom, 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 boom. You gotta have this, gotta have that. right? So start thinking like that. If you knew that your experiences was limited, which all of our experiences are limited, we're all going to die. What would you choose for yourself to make your experience here on Earth the best possible experience that you can have before you leave here? Find out what that girl is. Find out who she is. And I would even take it a step further. What do you want in your life? What does your dating life look like? What kind of money do you want? What kind of experiences do you want? What kind of house do you want? Where do you want to go in the world? Start to really look at all that stuff, right? Because there's a tension in that needs to be there in order to grow you. And if a lot of us are not willing to face the tension of that, because sometimes we look at these things that we want and we hurt, we go into pain because we're like, I don't feel like I can actually have this. I've tried to get this before and I couldn't get it before. And it hurts to look at. That pain of looking at that thing is going to actually turn into joy, happiness, and it's going to light your body up, and it's going to make you start to take the actions you need to take in order to get the goal. Same thing with the girls. Just focus on getting down on paper what it is that you want, and then start to get emotionally involved with that vision. Second thing, put yourself in the environments where those girls are. The minute you start feeling great about these type of women, you'll be more inclined to approach them. And again, the approaching thing, we've already got that handled. I've got a ton of videos on it on the channel to help you get the approaching part of it done. So just focus on the girl that you want, man, and I guarantee you, you will start to get closer to having that girl. And next thing you know, a month or a couple weeks from now, who knows? You'll be talking to a girl like that, or you'll be dating a girl like that. Just how it happens. So I want to see you guys all have that experience, which is again why I emphasize reach out to me over email. Anthony@thefearlessman.com, man. The one thing that we always ask guys when we get them on calls is, what do you want? And it's so hard to help a guy who doesn't know what he wants. And a lot of the reason that we don't know what we want is because our belief systems or our paradigm, the way we look at life or the way we've been taught life works, is literally creating confusion around us knowing what we want because we truthfully don't think we can have it. And that's complete BS. And if you don't ever address what you want, you're going to go the next 2 or 3 years, even 1 year, and you won't have what you want. And you'll just be floundering and in confusion. Don't do that to yourself. That's painful. Actually, that's more painful than looking at what you want because you're going to spend years in that space over time, not having what you want, getting the same mediocre results, dating the same kind of girls, having the same pattern rotation over and over. And at the end of this life experience, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, fuck. I wish I would have just gone for the chick, or this. I'm using chick as a metaphor for life, but I wish I would have just gone for the thing that I actually wanted. Again, I don't know if you've ever gone on, if you've ever seen these news articles where they're like, they'll go into the old folks' home and they'll ask these old people what are the top 10 things, top 10 regrets, top 10 things that they learned, the top 10 things that they wish they had done in life, and it's always like 1, 2, or 3 on that list is I wish I would have stopped worrying about what people thought, or I wish I would have gone for what I actually wanted. Always 1, 2, or 3 on that list. Always. So we are not at that age yet, so we have the advantage of being able to learn from another person's regrets and mistakes and actually go for the last thing we want. So again, here at Fearless, that's what we're all about, man. We're about dating. we speak about dating, and our videos are about dating, but we're about so much more than dating. We're about getting embodied, having a life that you want, releasing all your emotions so you guys can be free to express, free to go for what you want, free to have things that you want. You know what I mean? So I hope that helps you guys, man. I'm actually excited for you guys to grow. So I hope you guys email me. All right. So anyways, next question if there is one. Have any advice for guys who stutter? Sure, man. I have something with that. Yeah, man, I used to stutter a lot, dude. I used to have a cousin who used to poke at me because I used to stutter. She was always like, you're lying because you're stuttering. It was so bad, man. It was so embarrassing. You stop stuttering when you slow down. And you slow down by getting more embodied. A lot of the times that we stutter is because we're either overthinking or we're trying to get a lot out really fast because we're not calm and relaxed enough, or we feel like we have a limited time to get this information out. This person is going to off and run, or we don't have that space to slow down and actually say what we want to say. One thing I noticed was I used to talk very fast before I came into Fearless. I used to talk so fast people couldn't understand me. And it happens every now and then these days. Every so often I'll talk fast. And it was directly related to Brian putting me in front of a model and being like, slow down, feel your body, slow down. The more confident I got in feeling my body, the slower I talked. The less I felt rushed. And coincidentally, I started to feel like people want to hear me talk. People want to hear me speak, right? There's no need to rush out what I'm saying. Take your time, especially in approaches. When you're approaching women, a lot of us are in that space where it's like, you're just kind of rambling, talking, and you're trying to talk kind of fast because you might feel like you're bothering that person, or you're slowing them down, or you're putting a wrench in their gear, something like that, right? We have these stories about that. And those type of things can also make you stutter. They can make you talk too fast. Versus slowing down, grounding yourself, and speaking from your body and connecting a lot differently with people. Because when you speak from your body, people feel you a lot differently. When you're stuttering, a lot of the times it comes from a rush or a pressure to get all that stuff out really fast. So I hope that helps you, brother. All right. Cool, man. So let's do one or two more, and we'll shut it out. I think it's probably about 6:15 or something like that. Okay. Has Fearless dealt with students with ADHD? Hey, brother. Hey, I got ADHD. I was diagnosed with ADHD. I was on Adderall. I was on Ritalin. I was on probably more drugs than I care to admit, man. When I was a kid, and also into adulthood, also was on Adderall. And that's actually really funny because the thing that when I came into Fearless, I would tell Brian, I was asking him, is it possible to get that same feeling that you would feel when you're on Adderall? And just coincidentally, he had also had an experience with Ritalin and being like, realizing how confident it makes you and how much more in tune it makes you. And it gives you these little endorphins, makes you feel really good and confident. And he was like, yeah, that's actually what this work does. It makes you feel more free. I don't say it makes you feel free because that just sounds like it makes you feel. It makes you more free, right? It makes you feel like that on a regular basis. Like I was talking a minute ago about just sitting out here in the courtyard, or just sitting anywhere, honestly, and just feeling amazing in my body and amazing about life. That came from being curious about how do I make this, how do I feel like the Adderall used to make me feel without the Adderall. And so again, a lot of guys do come in here and they're like, I have ADD. And like, bro, I hear it all the time. I'm like, I don't want to hear it anymore, right? Because they're using that as an excuse as to why they can't do the work. And I'm like, I'm super ADD. My focus is terrible for the most part. This work helps you so much, man. Again, when you start getting embodied, you start realizing that yes, you can focus a lot, and you can also manage your emotions better too. In that, a lot of the ADHD stuff has to do with that, right? The avoidance and jumping from one thing to another. A lot of it really is emotional based. And the more calm and centered you can be in your body, the less you start to exhibit those ADHD symptoms. And again, you start to just notice yourself slowing down, getting things done more. It dramatically improves for sure, man. So we definitely can help you guys who have ADHD. Okay, cool, man. So let's do one more question, and we'll hop off, man. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys tonight, man. I really wish I could do this again. I wish I had more time, but really glad you guys are here. What's the best way to come out of a dry spell of not dating for 6 months? A really great way to do that, man, is to go out and approach. Now, it might sound counterintuitive if you've been in a dry spell and it feels very difficult to go out and approach, or you have resistance towards it. Get coaching. Get coaching. Get somebody who's going to go out with you to help you get past those hurdles of going out there for the first time in a long time. I was in an 8-year relationship, and I remember immediately after I got out that relationship, this is pre-Fearless, I realized I didn't know how to talk to girls. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know the first thing about girls or any of that stuff. I've been in this relationship for so long, since like high school. And I got out and I started working with Fearless, and having them take me out to the bar and push me into interactions with the girls, even though I was scared shitless and I was scared to be there, man, it grew me like a wildflower, right? Because I wasn't going to do it for myself. I couldn't have done it myself because I was just way too scared. The fear was very crippling, and that's the best way to do it, man. It's not a shameless plug either for our company, but get coaching, even if it's not with us and it's with somebody else. I don't care what it's with. Get out and get somebody to push you out there if you actually really want it. Because a lot of people say they want it and they really don't. They just want to talk about it. They don't actually want to get the results. And so I respect that. So find out where you are on that fence. What side of the fence are you on? And if you actually really do want it, maybe it's not our company, maybe it's a different company. Go for it, but definitely have somebody go out and help you out. Get the ball rolling, get that consistency going, man. And once you start to pick it up again and you start dating more girls and stop that dry spell, you'll feel much better that you did, because there's nothing worse than putting this question out right now to ask that question, and then a year later you're in the same position. It sucks. I've been there. I know that's like it's not helping you. It's not helping anybody. So go out there, man, and get that life that you're intended to have. Okay. So let's do one more, and then I'll hop off. All right. I'm feeling generous. Oh man, it's a big one. All right. Cool, man. So what's going on, man? Anthony, I feel fake. Okay. You feel fake? If I were honest, I'd tell her, hello, I think you're cute. I hope we have the same interests and hobbies, but more than anything, I want to have sex with you. Straight direct, man. I love it. How do I deal with this? Okay. So again, remember how I was telling the guy a second ago, he was asking about being a creep. Now, in your message, I can feel that you feel like maybe you are a creep, or that you feel like you can't say these things, or that it's wrong to say these things. So when you go up and you talk to a girl, what are the chances that that is going to be conveyed, that you don't feel like you should be saying this, or you feel wrong for saying it? Like great, like 95%, 98%, maybe even 100%, right? You might get up there and try to say this, and it's going to come out weird because you don't feel confident, or you don't feel at ease saying it. So what you have to do is you have to really get confident with the idea, or get, what's the word here? Get confident with the idea, get more adjusted to the idea, embrace the idea that it's okay to be attracted to women. It's okay to not know what to say also. Actually, that's a really good one. If you walk into a girl and you're in your head and you're beating around the bush and you're not saying what you actually truly feel, that's also okay. Let it happen. Let it happen. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. Let it happen. The more you fight against it, the more of it you're going to get. Surrender to it. Be okay with it, right? But also practice on getting okay with letting the girl know that you're sexually attracted to her, right? Maybe it's article of clothing. Maybe it's just the fact that she's looking so good that day, right? And let's say you see a girl in the grocery store. You see her in the frozen aisle, right? And maybe she's bent over in the frozen aisle grabbing some, some ice cream sandwiches or something like that, right? And you see her and you're like, Jesus Christ, man, ow. And you walk over to her and you're just like, hey, I'm sorry, you are super sexy. I have to tell you, you're super sexy. Notice how the energy of that is more inviting than doing it from a place that's a little bit more pull back, uncertain. I shouldn't be saying this. This is actually really wrong. Hey, I think you're sexy. And just notice how the difference between the two. One is a lot more open and inviting, and it's actually going to make the girl giggle, laugh, smirk, smile, want to talk to you, not be offended. And the other one's going to make her feel like, this is kind of weird. Like, get me out of this aisle. She's probably going to walk away, call security, whatever, right? It might not go to that extreme, but you'll get certain reactions that are kind of like that. So get comfortable with the idea that sex is okay. It is okay to be sexual with the person that you just met right off the bat. And again, because you're not doing it in a way that's malicious. You're not doing it in a way that's being predatorial. You're doing it in a way that's really light and fun, and you're giving it almost a compliment in it. But also, you want to let her know that you're enjoying that's beautiful, right? And I think a great book to actually read on that topic would be Zan's book, man, Zan Perion's book, The Alabaster Girl. Look at the way he, if you guys have read it, if you haven't read it, the guys in here who have, just look at the way he talks about women, look at the way he admires them, look at the way he appreciates them. And when you come from that place, you can do no wrong when it comes to women, right? Because they can feel that. That's a heart thing. That's a real hard thing. That's not like I want to fuck you to get over on you, right? Or manipulate you, or it's not a power move. It's like I genuinely think this is super sexy. I have to come tell you, and women light up with that because it feels a lot different. So read that book if you haven't. Start to embody that more. I've got a video on the channel that's talking about being more direct and sexual with women. It's probably one of my first 5 or 10 videos that I shot on Fearless. So if you scroll down, it'll probably be one of the first ones that have my face on them. And that was shot probably back in August, I would say, or maybe a little bit earlier than that. But it talks about how being just very direct like that and coming from the body really turns women on. It really just lights them up, and it makes them want to know about you. Man, I can't even explain how I get away saying the things, how I get away with saying the things that I say sometimes, other than the fact that it's a softer way of delivering it, but it's still very true, right? It's still truth in it. So I also want you guys to embody that if you guys are having struggles with that again, okay? So I hope that helps, man. And I'll go ahead and close it at that, man, because you guys have been great, man. Great questions. Again, I love shooting these videos for you guys, man, because the fulfillment in it for me is when I get messages from you guys that are like, I went out and I did this, and the girl was saying this to me, back to me, right? She was flirting back with me, or I walked into the room and all these girls are looking at me. Man, I love hearing that stuff. That's just like, you guys are getting it. You guys are getting it. Now, I'm always like, let's take it a layer deeper. How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? When I finished my first experience workshop, Dave was like, where do you want to take it now? How far do you want to take this thing, right? Because I'd already been having a little bit of success. I started to see what I was capable of. And he was like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? And I remember hearing him talk about going to swingers parties and meeting in the pool with 2 girls making out and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, man, yeah. I said, that's what I want. If I'm being truly honest with myself, I want that. I want threesomes. I want to be having some wild parties. I want to be dating multiple girls who know that I'm dating girls. I don't want to be hiding one girl from the other. I want to be incongruent. I don't want to be lying out there. I want to be honest, but also having the life that I want. And so I just kept taking it to the next level, getting around doing more work because it was so vital to me to change, man. The fact that I knew I could change a little bit, it clued me onto the fact that I could change a lot. And so if you guys are also in that boat where you're like, maybe you're seeing a little bit of growth, but not the growth that you want just yet, I would ask you, man, what's stopping you from coming down and getting a little bit of coaching, right? I know a lot of guys have the money story. Look, we all got money stories, man. We all do have it. And there's always a way to get what you want, right? Like if you needed to get a car or you need to pay your rent, you always figure it out. You will always figure it out because you're not going to allow yourself to just go down the drain and not pay your rent, right? And I know what that feels like. I know what being in that situation feels like. You'll start your DoorDash, you'll Uber, you'll check and see what credit cards you can get. You'll go to try for loans. Like we have so many things available to us, and I hear the money story all the time. So what it always really comes down to is the guy hasn't really decided yet that he wants what he says he wants. Like it sounds good, yes, but he hasn't made a decision to get what he says he wants. And until he's made that decision, he's not going to feel like he can actually have it. So he's not going to go out and seek the person who can actually get it for him. And so I just want to drop that jewel for you guys because I know you guys are probably in that boat, man, and I see it a lot. And I want you guys to grow, prosper, have these dating lives, man, because I truly believe you guys can have it. And I've seen guys come to our workshops who, on the outside, they don't look like much. They look very dorky, tiny, glasses, Poindexter, right? They're IT guys, they're engineers, they were in their head. And then after a couple months of doing work with us, they're dating girls for the first time. They're having sex for the first time. They lost their virginity. And the stuff like this is just like, man, dude, this work is the gift that keeps giving. And the cool part about it is as you guys start to grow and start to have these experiences, you guys then start to teach other people how to do this stuff. And people want to learn from guys who are actually out there who are good with women, especially maybe you guys have close friends who are not good with women, right? And they see you doing it and they're like, yo, what are you doing, man? And that becomes really cool to be able to give back to people and help them in that way. So again, if you guys have a goal in mind that you guys want and you guys are undecided on it, decide to have it. Let us work out the part of it where you guys are scared to step in attention. All we need from you is to show up and commit to coming and doing the work. But we'll put you in attention. We'll grind you out. We'll help you release it after you guys have stepped into an interaction with girls. We're good for that. That's our expertise, right? We got that. We got your back on that. You just need to figure out how to get yourselves down there to do the work. Again, guys, if you guys need more help, hit me up in the on the email. It's Anthony@thefearlessman.com. Anthony@thefearlessman.com. I would love to hop on calls with you guys, see what you guys want, see what your hangups are. Why don't you guys have what you want? Because there's always a reason, and I want to find out what those reasons are so we can help you unwind that and start going for it. Because once you guys get it, man, you guys are going to be so happy. But not only that, you guys are going to get it, and then you guys are going to be like, now that I've gotten that, what do I want next? What do I want next? And there's always next. There's always next. It's going to be like that to the end of time. Okay? So anyways, guys, it's been a pleasure. I love seeing you guys, man, and I can't wait to be back on this call with you guys. Check out Friday's video that we had coming up. I don't know what it's on, but I shot it, and it's going to be cool. All right? So anyways, guys, pleasure chatting with you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.